Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. This is your Rotherham versus Cardiff City Preview, the final game of the Championship season. But is it Errol Buluts' final game as manager of Cardiff City? At the start of the season, it seemed like it wouldn't be, and that was, everything seemed quite sort of positively, if you look at that way, as that he was going to continue what he started. No news yet. So sometimes they say no news is good news. It is what it is. But today, we just a quick preview on the game. We're all about the game tomorrow. And look, it's the last game of the season. If you can't play with freedom in the last game of the season, away from home, with nothing on the game, the team you're playing is already down, and you're not playing for anything other than pride. If you can't, just relax and play football in that situation, then possibly you're not in the right frame of mind, the right work. I don't know what to say. Like you should be able to just relax and play football ultimately. It's going to be interesting. Look, with the greatest of respect to Rotherham, they have been the poorest side in the league. They've been, even if not mathematically down for ages, but they've been looking like they've been going down for a while. But they do have some players in there which are like, oh, hello, why aren't they doing better? So maybe with nothing on it and already being down, maybe they can go and push on, and maybe they can play a bit more expansive. And then, we can push on and go for it. Maybe we'll see an exceptionally exciting game of football, end to end, and it'll be, just a great way to finish the season. I hate that it's the end of the season. It's depressing. No Wales in the Euros, so it feels a bit depressing. But as is tradition with these previews, we're going to fly through. We're going to have a look at the opponents. Rotherham ahead into the weekend. They want to finish on a positive note. Let's put it that way. It's been a difficult season for them. I think they've lost. What is it? Let me have a look. Winless in their last 8 games against Cardiff. Obviously, Cardiff won earlier in the season, 2-0. And I believe that if Cardiff play as good as they are able to, it should be a relatively comfortable day. But I think it's a very unique game, because you've got neither side really got anything to play for. Cardiff have got quite a few injuries, so they can't field their first team in terms of who the manager would like to select. But then also you've got the unsure nature of the manager as well. And will these players, if they are behind them, Errol Buluts, they should want to send him off at the end of the season with a good performance. Whether he stays or goes, they should want to finish the season well for him. And also they should want to, if he stays, play in contention for next year to keep their place, etc. And then on the Rotherham side of things, Rotherham will want to thank their fans. It's the last home game of the season. They're down. There's nothing they can do about that. But they'll want to go out with a big performance and say thank you to the fans for the support. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to move my screen because the scrolling is distracting. It's going to be interesting. Let's have a good old look at Rotherham, as is tradition. And they've got some players who could do some damage if they play at their best and they're relaxed and the rest of it. And that is almost, it's like a dangerous thing for Cardiff, at least, because there's no pressure on Rotherham at all. It is literally just a case of go play, go express yourself. And then you look at some of the players that they can have available, that can be a dangerous scenario. And I think Cardiff is struggling a little bit, particularly in the Middlesbrough game recently, with nothing to play for. They almost haven't quite got that fire in their belly. I don't think the Middlesbrough game was a 4-1 game for Cardiff by any means. A couple of things had gone Cardiff's way earlier in the game, and I think it's a very different game. But it is what it is. We defended, conceded some poor goals, and it was 4-1. In terms of the Rotherham, they lost most recently to Bristol. There's a few familiar names within their squad, from Jordan Hugill, Dillian Phillips, Rinamoto, Peltier. There's a lot of ex-Cardiff players in there. Interestingly, Rotherham only able to field 6 substitutes against Bristol. Steve Evans is going to want to go out with a bang, shall we say, for this season. It's been a disappointing season. I'm sure it's been a very difficult season in terms of, as fans watching these games, when you're down the bottom and you're losing more than you win, it's not fun. It's not fun. And just going to bring up Rotherham's tactics for look, Rinamoto's good. And I've got to say, as a Cardiff fan, I'm concerned about tomorrow, because I look at it and I think, yes, neither side's got anything to play for, but they're going to want to send their fans off, and almost apologise to their fans for going down. They're going to be bang at it, and I'm just not sure if Cardiff, some of our boys are on the beach already. Maybe I'm doing them a bit of a disservice there. I don't know. I can only judge on performances, and our performances since Christmas have been very, very up, down. So I suppose we are due an up. That's the positive way to look at it. In terms of Rotherham's formation, they do try to play football. It's not like they're like a long ball team. Jordan Hugill will run the channels, will work really hard. Eves up front as well. I think they'll stick with a similar sort of formation that they did against Bristol, 4-3 and a 1 behind the 2, which I quite like that formation because it's got a solid base. You have 2 strikers with a sort of number 10 behind. I quite like it. So you have Phillips in goal. You'll have Reven, Bramall, Rinamoto, Peltier as your back 4, maybe. Sorry, not Rinamoto. I'm pretty sure. My shoulder. Sorry. Where's Robert Boyle when you need him? God, refused to do this tonight as well, didn't he, Rob? Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. When I need him and he's not here. Private joke, that is. Look, from a Cardiff point of view, I think it's clear the players who Cardiff will need to be wary of is Hugill, is your Eves, Rinamoto, Appiah. They're the ones who are going to cause issues. However, I feel that Cardiff can get at the likes of Peltier, Ravon, and I feel like those wide areas could be quite important, both sides, because in that 4-3-1-2, which is not necessarily you rely on the fullbacks to provide the width for Rotherham, and then you can exploit it. And I think Peltier's not getting any younger, and it's where the Cardiff can exploit that. I hope, from a Cardiff point of view. In terms of people to watch, I'm going to go with Jordan Hugill, simply because I think he's so proven in the Championship, and he work tirelessly for them, and he will try and put our back 4 under pressure. And if you don't sort of keep him condensed and keep him quiet, he will run the channels. He'll find little pockets of space, not afraid to shoot, and could cause some issues. But Rinamoto is a player very, very good. Drifts past players, glides into these little spaces, which we seem to find very difficult to pick up. So I could Rinamoto or Hugill, I think, are the 2 which can cause, who I could see causing Cardiff some issues. It's going to be an interesting one. In terms of how Cardiff will line up, or how I want them to line up, that's 2 very different things. I would love to see Cardiff go attacking, and I would love to see Cardiff go with a mix of youth and experience and a look towards next year. Do I think that Cardiff City will do that? Probably not. Rinamoto will likely have a clause saying he can't play. I thought, no, he's not. He's on free. Yeah, no, you're right there, Reese. Ridamoto probably won't play, which is a big bonus for us because I think he's the sort of player who caused Cardiff issues. So quite glad of that one. Almost forgot he was a Cardiff City player, which is quite mad. But, there we go. Such is the life of a Cardiff City fan. We've got some players in the squad and on loan, which we've just almost forgotten about, which is a bit mental. But I would like to see that mix of youth and attacking players. It's going to be tricky because I don't think the manager will. I think he'll try and go as strong as he can. I wouldn't be against giving young Matt Turner a game. It's a big ask for a young player to go in goals away from home. But my thinking behind it is there's nothing on the game. He's been there. I think he's been in the squad pretty much since Christmas. Whenever Alnwick got injured, he trains, he goes there every week, he sits on the bench, he knows he's not going to go on, or very unlikely to go on. I would like to see him get a game, but he won't. So, Halverth in goal. I would like to see Conte and Tanner as your fullbacks. I've been impressed with Ollie Tanner at left fullback. I see weaknesses in his game, which you'd expect because he's a winger playing out of position. But I also see a lot of things that could be quite exciting as a progressive left side fullback. That could be a real tool for us going into next season. So I'd like to have another look at Ollie Tanner at left back. I'd like to see Conte get a start. I think he's done enough in his cameos that you can say, do you know what? Have a start, last game of the season. And that's not necessarily that Romeo's done anything wrong. I think Romeo's been very patient this season, waited for his chance. And I think he's been pretty solid in the last few games. But I would just like to see Raheem Conte get a start. Centre-backs will be Nat Phillips and Gutas. I don't think we've got much other choice unless you put Romeo or someone in there. But that will be those two. Midfield, look, again, would I love to see Joel Colewell in there? Of course I would. Not going to happen. But what I would like to see, Joe Rolls has started the last couple of games. I would like to see Turnbull and Psyopis in there now for this game and then bring, Rolls or Joel Colewell on later in the game, maybe both. But I'd like to have a real good hour of Psyopis and Turnbull as a 2. And then in the 10, I didn't look, actually. Is Ruben Colewell back for this game? Someone might be able to tell me in the chat, Reese or Rob. Anyone tell me, is Colewell back for this game? I'll leave number 10 for a minute. Off the right, I want to see Kean Ashford, 100%. Off the left, I'm going to go with... it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's a tricky one. Do you know what? Scrap that. I'd go with Ollie Tanner off the left and Ashford off the right, and I'd put Romeo at right back with Conte on the other side because we're lacking in wingers. Up front, again, you're kind of lacking in names. Do you go Jeju? Do you go Robinson? It's pretty much the two choices, unless you're going to play Ashford through the middle. Don't think the manager will do that. So I guess it's going to be Jeju through the middle. I don't see him playing Robinson, and nor am I particularly interested in seeing that. I think it's very likely he leaves, so I don't see the need to bring him back in. I'd rather see experimentation. I would rather, if they were fit, I would rather play Colewell and Ashford as the 10 and the 9. Tanner on the left. Give Louis Giles a go at fullback. Bring Conte up to the wing. I'd like to see Joel Colewell in there in some form. Maybe you play, I don't know, Turnbull, and there's a whole variety of different places. Ultimately, I want to see Joel Colewell, Ruben Colewell, Conte, Louis Giles. Who else have I mentioned? I'd like when I'm seeing. The only thing I'd say about Ashford through the middle, I think if you play Ashford through the middle, it's very important you play Ruben Colewell with him. So I think I mentioned before, I would actually play them the other way around. So obviously, Ruben plays number 10 normally, and Ashford normally plays for the 23s as 9 or on a wing. But I'd actually play Colewell as the furthest forward, Ashford in the sort of second deep striker, number 10, whatever you want to call it these days. Used to be just a second striker. But and then basically with the idea that Colewell drops deep to drop into the spaces like a false 9, and Ashford be the one who's running beyond. So they're still Ashford's the striker and Colwell's the 10, but you're interchanging them a little bit just to cause a bit of confusion and to help Ashford so he's not being relied upon as a target man, because that's not his game. You need him in behind. Whereas Colwell is massive, and I think he has the attributes that if the ball's fired into him and he's the furthest forward, he can hold it up, he can link, he can run at people or whatever. So that's the only little tweak I'd play. But I want to see the likes of Ruben, Joel, Conte, Antwi, Turner, Louis Giles over the Wintles, the Sawyers, the Robinsons, and it's not necessarily anything against those guys. I'm just more interested in seeing these young players and seeing how they cope for this last game of the season and kind of being a bit aggressive, as opposed to seeing players who are not going to be here in a month's time. Like Callum Robinson, I would say is pretty likely he won't be here. Ryan Wintle, I think, is touch and go, but we also know what he can do. Romain Sawyers hasn't had a look in all season, so I think it's almost certain he goes. Jeju's going to be gone, although I saw some people arguing that he should be re-signed next year. I don't know where you can possibly base that on. Bowler is another one. Look, I think the manager will play Bowler off one of the wings. Tanner will probably play fullback. But I would rather see the young lads. I'd rather see Tanner play on the wing and have Conte or Giles at fullback, or both. That's just me. Maybe people disagree with that, and maybe people think that we should play as more of a mix. I'd have the spine be solid and experienced. So I'd have your Haworth. I'd have Phillips and Gutas and Siopis, Ruben Colwell if he's fit. And then I'd have Ashford through the middle with Colwell. I'd have 2 young fullbacks who are just going to go and overlap and do all the things that we've lacked for all season. Have wingers who are going to be wingers. Like I'd play Tanner on the left, and I'd play. Who would I play on the right if Ashford played through the middle? I mean, I'm guessing that we'll see probably. He might play Turnbull in the 10 and Ruben Colwell off the right or something. But let's be honest, he'll play Bowler. Let's be clear. The manager's team will be Haworth, Romeo, Tanner, Phillips, Gutas, Rawls, Siopis, Bowler, Turnbull, Jeju, and probably maybe Ashford. Hey up, Geordie boy. Welcome. I'd like to think it's going to be an exciting game, Rotherham are already down. They are going to want to just go at it. Surely they're just going to want to go at it because they've been so poor this season. And I don't, with the greatest of respect to them and their fans, there's a reason they're bottom of the league. But equally, it's a home game. They're already down. It's not like Cardiff are flying. It's just got to be I think both teams have a responsibility to their own fans to turn up and actually do something rather than just, do you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe people disagree. To me, I just think both teams should be looking at it and thinking of the fans who pay their money all season at Rotherham, the Cardiff fans who travel and follow them all around the country all season. It's not like you have to worry about, if we lose, we're going to drop out of the playoffs or we're going to get relegated. You're already down. You're not going to get to the playoffs. Go and express yourself. Play football. Young players, that's what I want to see from Cardiff's point of view. Play young players. Be aggressive. Get at it. I would love just to see a good game of football from both teams. Do I think that will happen? No, unfortunately. And maybe, this is it. This is the interesting conversation, isn't it? Because I'm pro keeping Bullet, but then on the other hand, I'm saying we should do one thing, but I don't think the manager will do that. So why am I pro Bullet? I think you have to look at the overall picture and all the things that we discuss. But I also think he's got certain things that he has to address in the summer from his side. And if he doesn't get them right, and if we're still watching very poor football coming into Christmas next year, I think he's going to have a problem, because the board have spoken to him and told him that he has a responsibility to play a certain way at home. This is obviously away. Our away form has been pretty good. Cardiff's one to watch. I'm going to say Kean Ashford, because I think he, out of all of them, especially the younger players, like if I thought Joel Colewell was going to start, I would say Joel Colewell, because I think he's an absolute baller. The one thing he needs to do in the summer, Joel, is bulk up. If he can bulk up over the summer, what a player he's going to be. But Kean Ashford, getting his foot in the team, another start, hopefully. Like to see him pinch a goal or two and really push on. In terms of score, I think Cardiff win. I think Cardiff will have too much. I think 3-1 Cardiff City. However, if Cardiff go all out with experimentation and we have like a core of 3 or 4 senior players and 5 senior players through the middle, like I said, and then the rest is the width and the attacking areas is youth and young, aggressive attacking players, I don't really care what the score is. I'll just be happy that the manager's doing that and giving something back to the fans for the end of the season. You know, that's, again, just me. In terms of everything else, it's been a sometimes difficult season. Cardiff City World will be here all summer. We'll be doing, 7 days a week Cardiff City content. We've got some scout reports coming. We've got a debate on Errol Bullet. We've got Player of the Year. We've got player ratings. We've got like all these content, all these videos. It's going to be a non-stop thing. 8 o'clock in about 15 minutes from now, I'll be live with Roger Giggs over on Ace Podcast Nation. Please do join us. Links in the socials and all that sort of stuff. And if you haven't checked out footballcentral.com with 2 L's on the end of Central, got some wicked football shirts, retro shirts, tracksuits, all these different things. If you use the code ACE, you get 10% off, but they've also got 50% sale. So if you use that code ACE, you'll get 60% off, and it works out about 20 quid for a top, and they are some nice tops. They sent me the 86 Argentina top, but they've got like all the 80s Italian clubs. They got Barcelona, Boca Juniors, all the popular retro shirts that you could think of. They've kind of got them all. So please do support us by supporting the sponsors. You go to footballcentral.com, Football Central, Central with double L on the end. Use the code ACE, get yourself some gear, because it's proper nice, But join us at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a good chat. We're going to talk Arsenal City. We're going to talk the Championship final day, looking at the relegations and the playoffs and all that sort of stuff. We're going to talk why have Liverpool fallen off a cliff. We're going to talk should Ineos do what Arsenal did and stick by the manager, and look where Arsenal are now. We're going to have a quick talk about the Champions League. We're also going to be discussing our top 10 strikers of all time, among other things. So please do join us over there in about 15 minutes. As always, it's been a pleasure. I apologise, I was a bit all over the place today. Got a bit of pain going on, and then when you're on your own, you've got no one to bounce off or flick to. It's my own fault, because Rob offered to do tonight with me, but because I was under time constraints, I didn't take him up on the offer. The Flower Hour tomorrow, after the game, talking all things Cardiff City, reacting to the game, get involved with them guys. I'm not 100% sure what time they're on. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock in the morning on Ace Podcast Nation, full podcast with Roger Gibbons. It's an absolute belter, former Cardiff City captain, absolute legend of the game. And it's a really, really interesting conversation. So the full podcast is out tomorrow morning at 9 on Ace Podcast Nation. We'll have some exclusive footage from that on Cardiff City World next week as well, as chuck some clips and stuff up as well. But please do check that out. I'll see you in about 15 minutes. As always, a pleasure. Big up yourself. Have a good weekend. Nice one.